Hi folks, it's me, it's Kat again. It is a little bit windy today, so I'm hoping the sound is okay, but bear with me because I want to talk about the soul. I want to talk about soul and intuition and how to listen to your soul. So quite excited, I think this is going to be a good one. So in the last video that I did, when we were talking about the soul, one of the last things I left you with was to not get confused between your intuition and your soul. Because your intuition is a language. Your intuition is how we as a human are translating the not thisness into something that the thisness of us can understand and can convert and take action on and listen to. And for that to happen, we need a language. We need it to be brought down from an expansiveness of a nudging and a calling and a energetic yumminess. Can't describe it any better than that. But you get these inspired thoughts and it just fills your soul with a, oh, that feels right. That feels like something. And then we as humans need to translate that into something that we can understand and we can deal with and we can make sense of. So that's how our intuition starts to speak to us. Because once we start paying attention to the fact that we are more than this, that there is so much more to us than the humanness that we're sitting in, than this solid, linear, manifest world. Once we start to have that resonance as part of us, then we start to enhance our language skills, to listen to the not thisness more. We start wanting and reaching out and looking for guidance, and that can come in any source. And depending on our culture and depending when we're from and depending on our own particular intricacies of how we like to look at life, then we can go down lots of different routes to find our ability to use our intuition more. Some people will be guided to angels, some people will be guided to dragons, some people will be guided to crystals, some people will start off going to nature, some people will find their own particular way. But all of it is our intuition guiding us into a language that allows us to know the more than thisness of ourselves. And that's pretty cool. So our intuition is a language where we can listen to our soul. And I did a channeled message today where we are once again guided, especially at this time, to understand that the answers aren't through somebody else. Just let the tractor go by. Sorry about that. We're still on lockdown, so I can't go find a quiet place. This is as quiet as we're going to get. So, coming back to, for the tractor, our intuition is the way that we can learn to translate the not thisness. And whatever direction we take, it's a step forward. And I guarantee that that will lead us then to the next step forward, to the next opening of our understanding. So whether we start with angels, whether we start with nature, whether we start with any particular direction, it will always take us to a more expanded version of understanding resonance and understanding the not thisness. So our guidance, especially at this time, is to know the truth in ourselves, to start to feel our own connection to all there is, to everything, how we are an interconnected part, and therefore it is all of our own individual responsibility to make our own truth real. And especially at this time, so many of us are aching for somebody to tell us which way to go. You know, we're all looking out there going, somebody tell us what's going on, somebody tell us which way to go, somebody tell us how to get through this. But we are in a unique situation where every single person on this planet is going through this same thing at the same time. So we have to learn how to listen to the small whispers of our own soul, how to listen to the truth that is inside of ourselves as what we wish to be in this moment. What do we wish to be right now? And that is the truth in ourselves, in that our soul is constantly telling us what we are in this moment. And that essence of our soul is so unique. And that resonance of ourselves is actually how we can heal this world. But how do we trust that? How do we start to listen? And the truth of the matter is that we have to practice. And there's no getting away from, there is the phrase a spiritual practice, a meditation practice. And it is all about practice. But what we're actually doing when we practice listening to our soul is we're practicing listening to ourselves. We're practicing tuning into who we are. We're practicing us. And in this world, we've got so used to practicing the version of us that the outside world wants us to be. We present a version of us in all different circumstances. We present a different version of us depending on the information we've been given. We present a different version of us depending on who we're speaking to. But what our intuition is that energy inside of us which is truly coming from our own truth. And it doesn't make sense. Quite often it doesn't make sense because we have got so used to practicing being somebody else other than ourselves. Practicing being the rote of other people's words. Practicing being the rote of other people's directions. Practicing being the one who follows instead of the one who leads. Instead of the one who leads from our own soul. And that's what this time is all about. That's what this nowness on this planet is all about, us opening up and listening to our own soul. And the power within that is that we can truly shift this planet, but only when we know who we are. So we use our intuition to practice being ourselves and to practice listening to that call, that whisper. So how does our intuition speak to us? Generally it speaks to us in noises, in knowings, in nudges. It speaks to us in, look that way. It speaks to us in, oh, that would be exciting. It speaks to us in energetic resonances which get translated into emotions in ourselves which help us to navigate. And that's why I say often it doesn't make sense, because often we get a feeling of, oh, that would be so great, and then our mind kicks in and goes, don't be stupid, that's completely illogical, why on earth would you do that? That makes no sense with the world that you're living in. But our soul is actually saying, go that way, try that thing, don't go that way quite so much. And all it has to work with is our senses. So we have this machinery that we're sitting in, this body that we're sitting in. And as well as our current 5 senses, we also have these other energetic senses, which once we start to listen through them, they also get stronger. Just like when we're exercising our physical form and our muscles start to grow and we start to get stronger in different ways, and things that seemed really difficult to start off with then seem really easy. So our intuition is a muscle. So that listening skill is a muscle. So our easiest way to listen is to place your hand on your heart and to allow yourself to truly still and listen. If you want to make a decision, put your hand on your heart and truly listen, and there will be a expansiveness if it feels like the way to go. And if it doesn't feel like the way to go, then you will feel you become smaller. Perhaps you might want to lean forwards, perhaps you might want to lean backwards. That's your body using its intuition to speak to you. Sometimes you may just have a knowing. You might just know something. You know, often these are you're going out the door, obviously when we're not in lockdown, you're going out the door and the little voice in your head says, take an umbrella. And you go, oh, don't be daft. And you completely ignore it, and then later in the day you really wish you'd taken the umbrella. That's your intuition translating wisdom of your soul. And it can start with the small things, or it can start with the really big things, but our soul is constantly speaking to us. And so using your intuition, paying attention to it, recognizing it, helps to build those muscles. So next time you have one of those knowings that makes you want to turn left instead of turning right, if you can't turn left that day, at least say to yourself, oh, that was interesting. That was really interesting. I was being called that way. And then you will, next time, recognize that calling. Next time you'll understand when there's a feeling that makes you want to feel more expansive, and then you'll go, I'm going to just try that because that might be fun, instead of letting your brain talk you out of it. There's lots and lots of ways of using your intuition, and one of the things that is so important is you find your own way. Find your own way. Yes, get guides. Yes, find teachers. Yes, learn skills. But find your own way, because every single thing, and I think I've said this before, every single thing that any spiritual teacher will tell you is their way of translating. That's through their own lens and their own history and their own understanding of the resonance of the world. Every single thing that comes through us is filtered through our own unique filter. So now we are in a world where our own way of finding our way to our soul is so important. Finding our own way. Not following dogma. Not following routes already trod. Use those as guides if you wish, but that is not your journey. Your journey is unique. Your soul is unique. Your resonance here on this planet is unique. You are the only essence of you that is in existence in this entire world, this entire universe. This resonance of you in this body, in this time, in this manifest, linear, solid version of life is you. And therefore, it's your job to live it. It's your job to allow your soul to witness you being you by living this world and this life and this experience of you in the greatest, fullest expression of that you can be. And that's when life gets really, really fun. That's when we can learn to follow our own soul, learn that our essence of soul is always with us. And I'm going to do another channeled message very shortly, where I'm actually going to channel a further expanded message about the soul, which will probably be a little bit more expansive than these messages that I've been doing. But that's my joy, is I have learned that my purpose here right now in this time, in this space, is to be the one who brings that, who is the voice for that, who is making these films, who's talking to you now. And that's my purpose right now in this moment. That doesn't mean that I'm going to be exactly the same person tomorrow, because I'm a brand new person every single breath. How cool is that? Because we can recreate ourselves any minute, and our soul is always calling us towards the highest and greatest and most wonderful version of ourselves. And that's the delivery. So I've got to go. Much love. Bye.